Hey, welcome to Pat Paints. I'm Pat. I paint things. Actually, that's kind of what we're gonna talk about today. Usually I paint like a lot of miniatures and things like that, which is fun. I absolutely love small things. Maybe that's because I'm a really big guy. I'm a big guy. I'm not like super tall or nothing, but I'm hefty. I don't want to call myself fat, although I am. I was a chef and I like pastries too much. It's a curse. Yeah. Anyway, that's not anything to do with any of this. Anyway, I love miniatures, but I do a lot of other art, and things, and so I kind of, man, I've been going back and forth on this, on exactly what we want to do with this channel, and I think we're just gonna kind of do whatever I'm feeling like whenever I'm feeling like it. And that way we're not in kind of any rush to make a certain thing, or I don't have to feel like I'm trapped in like a thing. Because for me, that makes me crazy. Like after a while, I start going, man, what do I want to do now? Because I actually want to work on something else, but I don't really have anything else that's a miniature that can go on the show. And no. So anyway, I've decided I'm just gonna kind of do whatever the hell I want. And we're gonna do that, which is fun. It's fun. It's fun for me anyway. And since this is like a vlog that people get to watch, I figure that's what you should do. It seems to me like I don't know. I've been trying to figure out how to do this YouTube thing for a while, and it's not like the easiest thing in the world to figure out if you're used to just being in a kitchen yelling at people all the time. Because that's what I did. I spent a lot of time screaming and yelling at people and telling them that they're wrong. And I don't want to do that on the show, so I want to do like stuff that's cool and fun and relaxing. And I don't want to get myself locked into something and frustrate myself, because then like I just get irritated, and then I don't want to do a show, and that's no fun. People like these things. I like doing them when I'm not getting moldy or whatever. So anyway, let's get around here. Let's talk about what I've been working on. Turn it on. Oh, I left the pastel I did in the other room. I did an oil pastel. I love oil pastels. We're probably gonna do one today, or at least we're gonna start one today. But also I have some other projects I'm working on. Like these submarines. I drew these submarines for a comic idea. So I think I'm gonna do. There might be some work on this. There might be some work on miniatures. There might be some work on different kinds of, other art or whatever. It just kind of depends, I guess, on what I'm feeling, which is going to lend some chaos to the channel, but I think it will help us kind of flop around and maybe we can find more subscribers, we get more people involved. And we're going to be doing little bits of everything. So, like, watch this, watch that, watch this, watch that, watch whatever. And we'll go from there. I'm also, so hopefully tomorrow, this didn't print all the way for us this round, which, that's all right. I had some fails. I like things when they come in pre-supported, because they're, when they're pre-supported, they were done by the people who made the model, so it's a little bit more professional. Anyway, this is from Cult of the Lamb. If anybody's familiar with that, my hope is to have this together. I'm trying to get this together for a friend of mine for Christmas. So hopefully we get this done. We'll see. Anyway, like I said, I think I'm gonna do an oil pastel today. I don't know. It gets crazy. I get irritated, and I definitely just realized that I did not do this thumbnail correctly for this video, so I'm gonna have to go back and edit that, which is always fun. Hopefully, I remember to do that. Anyway, I'm gonna turn myself on, so at least there's a couple of us watching, right? Maybe at least 2 of us. Maybe, I don't know. Hard to tell. So then we're gonna do this. Kind of hard to see it with the glare of that light. It's a stag in a, scenery, in a Scottish kind of thing. I don't have a lot of money, so I don't buy people Christmas presents. I make them Christmas presents. So this will probably end up being a Christmas present. I'm not exactly sure whose. I never know that till I make them sometimes. Like I made a really cool fox yesterday, but I left that in the other room. I guess I could go get it, but I don't want to. And that's the new direction of the show. If Pat don't wanna, Pat ain't gonna. And that's what we're gonna do. Now let's talk about let's talk about oil pastels. Hey, it's Young. Yeah, sorry. So I ended up doing some contract work and it's still ongoing. Actually, probably gonna have to go back when we get some supplies in. So they do some contract work for a marijuana gummy company in the city that makes the marijuana and marijuana edibles, which is cool. Here in Oklahoma, that's legal, so we can do whatever we want. I mean, they did whatever they wanted here anyway, so it's nice that it's legal and there's less people going to jail for it, because that kind of got really ridiculous. Anyway, as a chef, I'm pretty good with kitchen equipment and like writing SOPs, standard operating procedures, and stuff like that. So I did that for a little while to kind of help them get their stuff going as a little contractual work. Now that I'm retired, I don't make like a lot of money, so I got to figure out where to make money wherever I can. So we're kind of working on different stuff. Oil pastel. So that's what we're talking about today. So we're gonna do a little bit. We're gonna do something different today. Oil pastels are awesome. A lot of people don't like them. I don't know why. I've never understood why people don't like them. You grew up with crowns, like, so you should. These are like fancy Crayolas, or sometimes it's kind of fun to think of them as like sticks of paint, like an oil paint stick. They're not exactly that, because they make a paint stick and this isn't the same thing. But it does similar. What works similar. There's a bunch of different kinds. These are a little bit more high end. Well, these are a bit mid grade, and these are a little bit more high end. So this is a mid grade. If I remember right, these come from Japan. I think these are Japanese. Crepas. They make some pretty good ones. These Impressionists are really great. This set's awesome. There's a ton of stuff in here. Hey, it's Sir McBeardsly. Oh, hey, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Damn it. Part of the print failed last night, but we are getting closer. I got I got her body done and the hand. What this hand? Right? Yeah, that hand. This hand done. So I'm hoping tomorrow we'll have the rest of this thing printed up and we can paint this guy or gal. What is it, a girl or a boy? I haven't played this game, so I don't know. But this will be fun. So I'm gonna get this one. We're gonna get it printed up. It was huge. So like this is the half size version of this model. So let me know, Shai, if you want me to make you another one. It's like a big one where it's all on the plate and everything. Honestly, don't know. I honestly don't know if I have a printer big enough to do the big one. Like it's big. It's big. This is, like I said, this is half size, and that's her. That's the head is like this big. So, but it's gonna be neat. It's gonna be neat. All right, back to pastel. So, like I said, crepe paws are great. You might want to start out with something even like, oh, I don't know. I don't know that I would go any further down than than crayons. Maybe not the expressionist crayons, maybe the cheaper crayons. Now, if you want to get a little bit higher end, these Sennelier are excellent. These are French. They're fantastic. I love these pastels. Really wonderful, wonderful things. It's unknown the gender of the lamb. That's fantastic. I like it. I like that we don't know. I like it we don't know. It makes it better. It makes it better. I don't know why. But it's like the game, from what I understand, is like you're running a cult. My son was explaining this to me because he was like, "Oh my god, you're printing off a lammy?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, so he helped me kind of print it last night. We're gonna fix it today, but anyway, that's absolutely hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. I love that. I love that it isn't. It's genderless. There's no need to have a gender. It really isn't. Okay. So pastels are very interesting. You're really working mostly with color theory. Okay, so you're not actually like, you want to sketch some of this out because you need perspective and you need all of that sort of thing. Yeah, I have to check it out. It sounds fun. I'm excited to get it. Hopefully I can get it finished, printed up, and we can paint it. I'll get it painted before. I'll get it to you tomorrow sometime. But I'm hoping I have it done and ready for the show, so we can paint it on the show. Because I think people like it. It sounds like it's a really popular game right now, so it should be great. So anyway, you want to take your subject. Without the light, turn the damn light off. That's what we'll do. There we go. Okay, so nice. You know I'm a big music head. All right, so what we want to do is we want to take a look at a couple of the main things. So we've got our stag here. That's a main object. We want to make sure that this piece here is sketched out really well. It doesn't need to be like full details of what the sketch is, but we need some rough ideas of where we're gonna go and what we're gonna do with this part of it. Maybe want to add like this here to let us know that that's there. Looks like we got a lock in the background. We'll add that in, and we'll add this ridged line in the background. Well, I guess that's the midground because this is the background. We'll maybe even kind of sketch in some of the sky to kind of give us an idea of what we're going on, and we'll maybe add our little layers here to get our foreground set and get all this midground stuff set. But after we've got all this stuff just barely sketched in, we'll be able to just jump straight into going. You don't have to, with pastels, the great thing about it is you don't really have to do a lot of like detail work. It's not a detail product. Fine details in pastels is not something that happens. You're kind of trying to do an impressionistic thing, which means what we're going to do is we're going to just like look at this, and then we're going to draw what we're seeing in our head, or what we remember from looking at the picture. That's the idea. You want to impressionism is like at a glance, which is why pastels work so well for it, because your memory is going to be kind of flawed. You don't recall exact details of things that you just glanced at for a brief moment, or as you glance up to it and you just look down on the page and you just make the color for a little while. So like impressionism, there's just a lot less of that super hard lines, super hard edges all the time. There'll be some, but not nearly as much. We're looking for more just what we tell you what about to crack open a Shen-Shet sarsaparilla for today's show. That's fantastic. So I'm infinitely jealous of the sarsaparilla. Just as so you know that, sir, that is fantastic. Your friends are truly to be admired. That's a great gift. For somebody who likes the Fallout series. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Jones Cola put out a limited release of the Fallout sodas, which is kind of fun. Okay, so we're just going to take a few little looks at this. I actually want to start here at the top. I'm going to put in a little bit of this background, this slope here. Might have to change it a few times to make sure we get it right. just real light sketch. You probably can't even really see that. Yeah, you can. It's just like barely any lines on there. We're trying to make sure we get in, like I said, we get in some of this stuff that's going to help us get that perspective in. Alright. There. We're going to start with this deer. Well, it's an egg. That's, yeah, no, it's a stag. It's a Scottish deer. Get a little line, its head in here. It doesn't have to be super precise. We're going to come back and we're going to glance at it several times before this is all over. Just trying to make sure we have the impression, right? The impression. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for just the impression of what's happening. Alright. Both those legs seem to be coming together. There's probably a split in the middle. You just can't really see. Okay. Alright. And now I'll tell you what. You'll see where I've like drawn through things. You can always erase stuff. And this is something that like very hard to find case photos. Yes, it is. So this is something I actually learned this from Stan Lee. Draw through things. So like right here in particular, you can see where we have like the mountain head is going through the head of the stag. Maybe you can see it. We'll bring that out a little bit more so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So this little line right here is actually part of the mountain that we put in that's going behind the head. So I went ahead and drew that mountain in the background and then drew through the mountain on the foreground. And I could have gone either way. I could have drawn the stag and then brought that through to make sure that my line stays continuous the way I want to. And I can just pull that right out. And most of that is actually just so I don't confuse myself. And I know that here's where my stag's head is going to start and stuff like that. That way, but drawing through things, that was one of the most brilliant things I ever learned with drawing and sketching and stuff like that. Is that like you sometimes just have to draw through it to make sure that the line is continuous. That's just how it is. Or that it flows the way you want it to flow. So you want to, that part's super important. That part's super important. Let's get this sketch a little bit harder. Make sure we pull out anything we don't want real fast. Alright, that's going to come up, and then it looks like that rolls kind of down pretty hard there. We have a little ridge coming through the back. We have the rest of the foreground here. Up here should go back, and then there's that. That is, there's a little bit of a right there, and then the rest of that is going to be clouds. Looks like we do have a little bit of this kind of coming back and connecting. Maybe through this. Yeah, it's going to go through that into that line there. And yeah, I'm using a cheap mechanical pencil. I don't necessarily, if I'm going to do like a pencil drawing where I'm actually going to really fill it out, then I might do a better pencil, quality pencils. I'm definitely not going to stress too much on a quality pencil for pasteling, because I'm gonna end up going over the pastel anyway, or with it with pastels anyway, so it kind of doesn't behoove me to do too much worrying about the type of pencil I'm using for the sketch on a pastel. I kind of zoned out for a second there, sorry about that. Like I said, just trying to basically get the idea of what's going on here with the horns, and we'll come back. Okay. Let's see. We'll do a little bit of the sky in here, just to kind of give me an idea where I want to kind of put that sky. Quick lines just to get it going. Okay. Now, I would recommend the way you do this is that, and typically you want to work from the back forward. Now that certain parts of this we need to kind of do in different ways though. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on the back, and then we're going to move probably to doing some light colors here to kind of mark everything out, and then we'll come to the stag. Or we might actually go even where we do the stag first, and then we go to the back and then work these grounds in. The main thing is we really need to make this stand out. We want to make sure we've got, make sure I've got this perspective right, because I forgot to put this leg in. That is definitely going to change the direction of which this stag is looking at us. This one actually needs to come over a little bit this way. There we go. There we go. All right. So, like I said, a lot of the time what I really try to do first off is I'm just going to kind of get some light colors in places just to kind of mark off what I'm doing. This is real light. Don't push down too hard on this. Try to avoid any places where you know you're going to need to add in other colors. And yeah, at first it seems like we're just kind of barely scribbling anything on. And this is where people kind of get irritated with pastels. They don't immediately, it's not like paint, you know, you put paint on or ink on and it's an immediate, the color is very immediate. You know, even with watercolor, the color is there, boom, pow, color, you know. But when you're talking about pastels, it's a little different. We gotta kind of start with just a little bit of color just to start marking out what we're doing. Now you can see why we put those lines in there. That's to help us kind of know where to set those cloud edges. Because the little edges of these clouds are going to have lots of little perks of orange and yellow and stuff like that. Oh yeah, if you do happen to work on the Lamb Live, I'm not sure if you would wanting to. I wouldn't put in a tile. Told her to avoid stream stream. That's funny. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll spoil the whole game. It's way too. It's so popular. I feel like almost like we have to. If we don't, we're gonna make a mistake. Now again, all these colors are gonna really start changing a lot when we begin layering in the rest of this. It always starts out real, I don't know, like there's nothing happening, you know? It's like, oh, I'm not doing anything and it's making me crazy. Some sort of it's like a little bit of a road right here. I'll just go ahead and get a little That white nappy. Come up even higher. There we go. Okay. And so we'll be able to add on top of this green. Well, we can add the browns and the darker colors on the top. Right now, I really need to just make sure I have an idea of what's what, just to get it going, get it started. This part here is a little bit more yellow, goldeny. A little bit of lots of highlights, lots of ochre, things like that. Now remember, the idea isn't with an impressionist thing isn't to make it look exactly like what you're looking at. It's to look approximately. So we want approximations, not exact replication. And some people find that to be a much easier form of art, and some people don't. So it is really a very much a to each their own kind of situation. We forgot to sketch in that rock. So it's got a blue, a light blue, an orangey vermilion, a light green, some yellow, some ochre. This is a black, which we're going to kind of just... Rocks are interesting in pastel, so we kind of want to make the impressions of the ideas of it looks more like gravel and chunky rock. I'm going to put a little black in there. And then we'll come back and we'll doctor up a little bit of white. And we'll come back later and do a lot more messing about with that stuff. Alright. So now we're kind of on to the stag. Things I highly recommend is having yourself a piece of paper to kind of rest your hand on. Because pastels will rub a lot. Now, it's going to rub off a little bit on this, but it's going to rub off a whole lot less on that than it is on your hands. And that is definitely real. Alright, so now, we got that rolling. Let's block in this stag. We'll start kind of with the highlights here. Definitely ochres. Let's see. Yes. Lumber? There we go. Umber is a dark brown, where sienna is like a light yellowish brown. And what we're going to do is, we're going to do a lot of blending these things into each other. I can put a little vermilion in this, and a little bit of orangey reddish colors, just to kind of help bring it out. Same thing with our edges here. And we need just a little bit of orange in some few places here. Just your
paper can also help you, like, sometimes you've gotta get the smuts off of the pastel itself, so you need like a clean paper to kind of work it off. And you can start really letting these things blend together here. They'll start picking up each other's colors, and they'll start picking up each other's, you know, with the sunlight here. All right. Definitely going to come through a little bit more of that ochre. I think that's going to end up being pretty much our go-to here. And a lot more browns and the darks in this here. Get there. Try to keep your strokes moving in the same direction. You really want to avoid scratching too much, like doing this too much if you can avoid it. It's not always possible. You know? There's always, things can be difficult. Now the reason you want to kind of work the foreground here first is because we need to be able to set it harder around the outside of it. So we're going to kind of work on all this and then finish that way. And a lot of that's because it's going to be easier to finish off this side of the page with everything else done. Pastels are they're just so messy. So like you've got to plan for that. If you don't plan for the mess, then you're gonna have a bad time, because it is hella messy. This is just kind of in the general vein of what they are, you know. This is where I kind of will use my fingers just a little bit sometimes, just to kind of get my looks right the way I want it. You could use a blending stick for something like that if you had, if that's what you have access to, you know. Or if you just don't like getting your fingers a little bit grimy, I don't mind. You can also use like a tissue or a rag. There's lots of different things that you could use to do this. I know a lot of people really prefer tissues. I've even seen people use like the makeup brushes and things like that to add the pastels. It really comes down to you know, what do you really like to use, sort of thing. At this point, my fingers are already pretty messy, so I don't mind a little smearing. A lot of white on the face. A lot of white on the face. We're just going to kind of try to leave some space for that. The nose. make your strokes count. Like when you blend and stuff like that, help your shape out, you know? No matter what you're using to do the blending, help that shape out. Okay, a fairly wide area for that, for the muzzle. Okay, just a little bit here just to help blend some. Alrighty. Now I'm gonna wait. I want to wait to do the horns until after I've gotten all the rest of this stuff done. Because if I put my horns in now, and I'm gonna be having to work all over it all the time, trying to work around it. We don't want to do that. That's a mess. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna finish up the head on this guy. Again, you're talking about an impression, so just need it to kind of sync up. Deal with some of these details in here later on. Right now, we're going to move on to some other little bits. Get some other things accomplished here. See now how we're just going to pull around the face. Like I said, we might have to come back and add a little browns, a little bit of grays, a little bit of who knows what, to get all this to kind of blend together. This in here is going to be a little bit darker because it is on the shadow side of this current rise. The sun's going to be hitting across these, across the edge here and here. Brown down in. Here, gonna help us, really going to help us frame the back end of this guy. And don't make it all so rigid. We want to kind of have some play because we're going to add some colors. We're going to start some blends. It's going to look a little different. We'll get all done. So here's some little bit of darker green to come in here. Just dropping some colors down. Just dropping some colors down. We're going to remember where our horns are. Not quite enough. Let's see. Kind of maybe a little ochre in here. Maybe a little ochre. Alright. Yeah. A little ochre in this. And these little bits and stuff here are going to really, like I said, when we get to the blending side of this, that's really going to show out what we've done in adding these different colors in these different spots, because it's going to help bring out the colors here. I feel like you need a little bit more, in there. That's alright too. But you want those different mixes of color. I said I never really understood why so many people dislike this medium. You can get so many things going on here. There's so much that happens. There's so many possibilities. Seems like you should use them. Just, like I said, follow those contours. Bring that slope in with you. Let them. Those colors are gonna really give us the extra work here too. See, let me get close to these edges. We're gonna, when we come back, we'll work more on the outline of the edge of this deer. We're just bringing it all kind of together. Same thing with the sky. Our sky is actually gonna, we'll do this and intersect the skyline. Just takes time. I'm a little different than some of the other artists. A lot of people like to start in the background and work down and work through everything. But I find that it's easier for me to get my subject piece, my main subject piece started, so I can get everything else to kind of work around it. Because I want this to stand out. This and the sun set. I'm assuming it's a sunset. Don't actually know. Alright, so now we have a little bit more lighter colors. Lighter colors up there too. Dark green through here. A bit of a darker blue there for the water. Come back and mess with that later. It's starting to creep up on top. Look at that. We'll definitely get through this today. Or well, some of the rest of this today. We'll have to finish it tomorrow. So got a little bit of time. But yeah, we'll have to finish this guy up tomorrow. From the looks of it. Which is great. It's totally fine. See, like, this isn't even pastel paper. This is just cheap drawing paper. I'm not even using the good stuff here. You get the actual paper with the tooth that's made for pastels. You got a whole different gambit. Just go on top of each other really well. Like you can, as long as you know what you're doing, you can really get a lot going. You get a lot going on here. I mean, I guess unless you just. I guess most people like everything to be super crisp and clean these days. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's just not as much world left for the impressionists like myself. Maybe a dying breed, y'all. Maybe a dying breed. Which would be sad. Well, feels like I lose out to AI all the time. AI can do it smoother and faster. I don't know about better. It seems so soulless.
Oh, yeah, you're good. I appreciate you bringing that back up. It's a good time to talk about that again. So I think we're just going to kind of do more like a little bit of everything. Instead of just focusing on miniatures, I'm just going to kind of just make art. We're just going to make art. We're not going to worry about what we're making and who we're targeting and maximizing YouTube algorithmic. I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to make art. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna make art, and we'll keep throwing it in different places. And you know, I'm just gonna stop trying to play this YouTube game where I'm trying to get people to, interested in what I'm doing by their standards. I'm just gonna do it by what I do, and then I'm just gonna let folks find me, which is, it's kind of what happened with most of the folks that are on this channel. They just found me through miniatures mostly. But a lot of the folks who actually watch this channel are art people. Like you appreciate art. It doesn't matter what kind of art it is. You like art. Like Fionn, he likes art. He doesn't care what kind it is. They like art. You know what I mean? And that's. I feel like that's more what we need to do. Like for me personally. Especially since I just, how do you say this? I don't know how long I got. Could be a decades. It could be shit. I could make a day, guys. I don't know. With whatever's going on with these seizures and all this stuff, we just don't know what the heck it is. So I kind of just decided I'm not worrying about trying to conform to something, trying to be a certain thing for a certain audience, or I don't know. It's really hard to explain the exact thing we're talking about here. I'm getting pretty close there, but that's pretty much it. I think I just want to, make a little something different. Do more art stuff. I've threatened it a couple times. I never committed to it. So we're committing now. We're going to go ahead and burn the boats, as they say. I think in the end, it might just be more to just add into what we're doing. Hopefully it brings in more and more people, to kind of check out what we're doing. And I'm not really great at the whole super big productions of things when it comes down to that. So kind of, gotta find my niche, And instead of worrying about it or trying to force something to be something and getting stressed out when I don't necessarily have something to paint or know what to paint, I'm just gonna make whatever I feel like it.
Seems to me like a great idea. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, did you see the submarines? I think you saw them on Facebook. But... So I'm also working on, this is for, I'm going to draw like a comic, I think. Like a short comic. I don't want to give any details away. But I might show some of these pieces. We might work on some of this stuff from time to time. Might work on a comic, like how to draw comic cells and it, just like everything. Like I can do a little bit of everything. So, you know, why not show that off? You know what I'm saying? Like, why not use that to our advantage as a channel? You know. It seems like we would be wasting things, wasting time, wasting talent if we didn't just keep pushing forward and finding, I don't know, find a new thing. And what's the next thing we're gonna do? Where are we gonna, you know, like you, for art, I think a lot of artists will probably agree with this statement. If you do too much of the same thing for too long, you stagnate. You stop growing in your art itself, and you just become a creature of habit, and that's when I don't know, you start losing a little bit of the, I don't want to say direction, but it is direction. You know, it is direction. You necessarily lost your way. You just found your way too hard, and now you're stuck in your ways. What are you gonna do now? Not a damn thing. Except for the same thing you've been doing. So might as well change the game, change the tune. Do something new, do something different, do something you haven't done in a while. And play with the oil pastels. Paint a lamb of God, or a sacrificial lamb, or whatever. A lamb god. I don't know. I don't know what that thing is. I love it. I don't know what it is. But you can do anything. Guys, you can do anything you want. You can make anything you want. Art-wise. You can make anything you want. There's no bad art. It's just art. It's just art. No bad art. No good art. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't want to burn yourself out on a medium. You know what I mean? You just kind of want to keep working on your different stuff. You know, have different things you're doing, you know, different. Now this one kind of the pastel thing became a deal because I saw too many people on the internet talking smack about how pastels are a terrible art form, and I was like, well, man, hold up. maybe, but maybe you just don't know what you're doing. Like, I don't. And it doesn't seem like there was a whole lot of like people doing pastels. And I'm actually pretty freaking good with these things. At least I have it in the past. And so I was like, you know what? Let's go show them. Again, we have a texture we're trying to accomplish here, right? So like this grass is supposed to be kind of tall and stuff. So I'm kind of working in the different colors as I go and kind of pull it through. Get that tall grass kind of look. But yeah, exactly, man. Just to keep yourself from, or myself, I suppose, from burning out and not wanting to make things. You know what I mean? Like that. Well, no, what happened last week? Last week I've been sick as hell and working on that other project. I worked on that project for a couple days, and then I don't know. There's something going around Oklahoma, y'all. That's just brutal right now. Chris and I got laid out for like 3 days straight. I was gonna try to get on last week, but I just got sick. And then yesterday I had one of those stupid ass attacks. I've been having more of those things lately too. Actually, no, that's not right. That's not correct. I had a pretty good run, almost like 2 weeks with no actual attacks. And then I got. They got me. 57. Okay. Let's see. What time is it actually? Not what time does that clock right there say. 10:20. What? Oh, that was when I took the picture. I'm an idiot. Sometimes I don't think I work very well. I think sometimes my brain don't function properly. Sometimes. It's okay to get a little bit of green in here too, because that's really gonna help us look more like we've got things going on underneath the flower or the old grass. Got a little bit of green poking through. Oh, okay. Well, kiddos, we're gonna come back tomorrow, and we'll work on the rest of this guy. We're getting I say that. I kind of want to start throwing this sky in. I love skies. They're kind of my favorite. You know what? Nah, we going. It's been a while. I'm gonna throw some in. Alright, so we'll get that trusty piece of paper. Next time we're gonna open this thing up so we can put our arm on there. We gonna fuck it up. We gonna fuck it up today, y'all. We'll get that purple, man. Some purple. Dark blue, maybe. That's more like, I guess it's more like a dark blue. Thought I had purple. Where'd you go? Also a dark blue. Different kind of dark blue. I thought I'd ordered a dark, here's a light purple. Yeah, here we go. Old Purple Mountain Majesty. Above the fruited plains. Alrighty. Slightly different orange. We're gonna pull over and grab one of these crayons. Grab this guy. That's a yellow orange. Now, a lot of what you're doing with Impressionism and color theory and this sort of stuff is really what we're doing is we're tricking people's eyes into believing that they're seeing something. And that's all it is. It's literally just tricking people's eyes into seeing what we want them to see. Whereas art and drafting can sometimes feel like you're trying to get every detail out. When you're dealing with something that's just some sort of color theory like this, you've got a whole lot more leeway with what you can accomplish. Just a little pink here too.
I go through tons of white. You are the sacrifice. Okay, so you're the sacrificial land, who saved by the entity called the One Who Waits, tasked with start a cult to become strong from followers, take down the ones who try to sacrifice you. Wow, that's pretty funny.
That's gonna make a lot of people really angry for no reason, and I like that. That's why guys, I gotta stay off Facebook for a couple of days, or at least just post some like normal shit for a few days, man. I'm getting to where I'm starting to rile people up for fun again, and like that's bad. I don't need to do that. People don't need a guy like me riling them up. It's just not. It's just not. It's not nice. It's not nice. I'm not being nice when I do that. I don't always feel good about doing it, you know. I just, Ah. Ugh, my oh my, how I hate them fancy lads. Really gotta let that color come in here and do its thing, man. Vivid. I love vivid color like that too, man. I'm a huge fan. Trying to get it as vivid as possible. Bright, vivid colors. In any way I can get them. This is where it definitely pays to have some sort of a blending tool. My fingers are now covered in stiff. These work all right, as long as you're careful. And right here on this edge of this transition, I really want to make sure we get that right. Yeah. We're off to see the lizard, the wonderful Lizard of Oz. What do I do with it? What do I do? And you can see how it's just a little bit different. And then like there's, like I said, you could use a tissue if you didn't, or a longer brush. You need something with a little bit of a sponginess, a little bit of rigidity to it. And that's why I typically use my finger. But then your finger gets all fucked up and greasy and dirty, and then you gotta clean it. And, So you want like a little bit of a different way to go at it. You can always get blending sticks and little wands like this. Lots of different ways you can make this work out for you if you want. Like I said, I think a lot of people just don't know how to use this medium, and that's why they get so down on it. They're because it is, you have to be willing to let it kind of be what it is. You can't force it into the mold you want. You've got to work with the medium and kind of do what the medium is trying to tell you to do. And it's kind of hard to explain that, but that's the secret. You have to let Dilly gonna do what Dilly gonna do. So you got to dilly with Dilly. But don't dally. Because Dilly will make you dally. And I will say something odd about like the darker the blue gets, the more like the less oily and the more like scratchy it is. And some pastels will like shatter. Even oil pastels. There's also a thing called a soft pastel, which is basically chalk. I'm really good with that too. I'm really good with chalk. I won a few when I was younger. I'd won a few competitions doing like soft chalk art. When that was still kind of a thing. It's not really a thing much anymore. All right. There's the extra. We're gonna stop there. We're gonna come back tomorrow. We're gonna get back to work on this guy. Thanks for everybody who stopped by. I hope you guys. I hope we had several. I wasn't paying attention. So hopefully we had several people come in and take a look at what we're doing, and you guys are digging what we're trying to. You like what we're trying to share. And you come back, and watch a little bit more of the show. Give us a like and a subscribe if you don't mind. That stuff's super awesome. We're almost to 500. We're like slowly trudging towards it. I think we're like, I want to say it's like 460 something. So we're almost there. Just crazy. So anyway, if you liked it, then definitely give us a like and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to finish up this wonderful stag and give it to somebody for Christmas. I don't know. We might get into painting that lamp. If we can get one thing done, we can get on to the next. And I think that's another cool thing about this new idea of which direction to go. When we run out of stuff to do on a day, I can just be like, well, that's done. Let's work on this, and just pull out something else and fill an hour. And that way we can kind of fill an hour's worth of show every time we do it. Times might have to change around. We might be bumping around here. I'm not sure what's going on. So, or might just have days we just don't have a live. I don't know.
it's definitely the schedule is definitely rigorous. Trying to do one every weekday is a lot, but and that's kind of why I'm trying to do some more things, different things, because it'll help us be a little less. I don't know how to explain that. A little less worked out, I guess, or overworked, or burned out. I guess burned out is probably the best word. I was just about to talk about times. Anything works for me? With yeah. I'm not sure. It was looking like I might have been like getting like another job, but then that I don't know that that's. I think that's going to be more like an on call thing. I don't think it's going to be something where I'm permanently there all the time. So we'll see. We'll see. We're gonna keep making videos. We're gonna put them out there, and people can watch them. Yeah, people can watch, and you know, we'll see. Anyway, you guys are amazing. Thank you all so much, and you know, be good to yourselves. Be good to somebody else. Be good to people you don't know. Spread some good around. We'll talk to you later. Bye.